get Constantine, but I'm gonna go ahead and go one by one so we can check out all these cards. I had a chance to put it all in alphabetical order, and we can check out each of these cards, what they do, and what it might work with in the current sets that we're playing with. So let's go ahead and start with Aquaman. Oh, we did double up here. All right, so Aquaman's dice looks like it's a 0, 0, 1 fielding, so that means for level 1 we do have a very low fielding cost of 0, for level 2 0, and then level 3 it is 1. So in terms of value, I mean in my opinion it's a pretty solid dice in terms of fielding and buying for it only costing 3. I mean, it's no Morphing Jar. Morphing Jar is such a good value dice in terms of buying like 1 energy. I mean, it being mask for like I think it's 4 attack. It maxes out on Morphing Jar. But let's see. While Aquaman is active, Justice League characters cost 1 less to buy to a minimum of 1. So that's pretty cool. I mean, it does interact with a bunch of the Justice League stuff. I don't really see it. It's strictly to help Justice League sets. So let's go ahead and put that aside. And we did take a look at Aquaman. Now, let's see. Brainiac. That's the rare we got. Let me go ahead and get the cards with that match as well. I actually got 2 Brainiacs. Alright, so for the rare, while Brainiac is active, after blockers are declared, you may switch to opposing blockers. So it does have that where it makes you switch 2 blockers. So they have to have 2 blockers, and then you switch them. I mean, it's a little specific, and I don't know if I can find use for that in unlimited constructed. So I mean, it is nice to have the rare, but in play for it costing 5, and for the dice being so hard to for first of all, it's going to be hard to buy, and to field it's 1, 2, 3 with the attack of 4, 7 on the 3rd level, and then I mean it just going down from there. It's gonna be pretty hard to play with in general. And then let's see, for the uncommon version, or the uncommon version, while Brainiac is active, if your opponent attacks with at least 1 character, you may choose to have an additional opposing character also attack. Alright, so I mean it's the same thing. It's a little specific. You're gonna have to looking for that particular instance where Brainiac's got to be on the field, and then your opponent has to attack with a character, and then you're going to be able to have someone else attack. So I mean, a lot of things do it way better. Like what do you call it? Um, Phoenix. She does. You just pay energy and then she attacks. I mean, while this is free, the payment is kind of still he has to be active, and at the same time your opponent has to attack that turn. So for unlimited constructed, I wouldn't recommend it. It's kind of hard. It's a little specific, and that's the thing. Next is Batman. I really do like this card, but I don't know what it does. So, KO a level 1 character, and then Burst Side for 1 is KO 1 or level 2, and then Burst Side for 3 is KO a level 1 or 2. Place die in prep after using it. Alright, so if it burst side, then you can kill something, and then you're able to use it again next turn, or roll it again next turn. So, I mean, for 3 cost to KO a level 1 character, uh, it seems pretty okay, but the likelihood of rolling the burst side is what, a 1 in 6 chance. So, I'm gonna say it probably would work better in the set where it's limited to only DC, but in terms of unlimited, it's just too slow. And what it does is knock out a character, you still have to deal with it later. So I'm gonna say not for me, or at least for the decks I'm gonna be making. I mean, I'll experiment with it, but I don't think it can go that far. It'd be nice if it actually had 2 energy here. That way, you have more of a opportunity to roll energy. But it being 1 here, I mean, it's already hard to use as it is. So let's go ahead and fast forward to Black Canary. Okay, it's got the same one. Crime Fighter. When fielded, no sidekicks can block this turn. I mean, I'm gonna like this in the DC set because I'm pretty sure a lot of people are gonna be putting up a lot of sidekick walls, especially when they have no idea what they're gonna be drafting, what they're gonna be like playing with in terms of their starter combined starter and what they draft. So, I mean, it's pretty cool, but again, it is a little slow. I do like the dice though, 0, 0, 1. So that's the level cost fielding. So first 2 levels for free, the last levels for 1, 4, 4. And again, I do mention this a lot. Morphing Jar is superior in terms of stats and purchase cost, and pretty much the energy that it provides. So I'll go ahead and put that aside. Booster Gold. Let's see what this dice looks like. Right here. Alright, so it's the uncommon or the common Booster Gold. Booster Gold cannot attack if a villain is active. So it's a debuff for him. He can't do anything if there's a villain active. Which makes me believe that if you have a villain, it can't attack, as well as your opponent having a villain that can't attack. I don't know why you would put a limit on a dice and then make it even harder to get out. I mean, it's really hard to play this character. I do like that it's a mask energy. I know mask energy is the energy to have right now, but I don't think Booster Gold's gonna do it for me in terms of his effect and his dice stats. They're 1, 1, 2. So for that, that's 3 attack, 4 attack, and then 5 attack, and then it goes 3, 4, 4 for defense. Let's keep it going with Batman. Everyone loves Batman. Batman is literally everywhere right now. I do like that they went with the yellow dice instead of a black dice with a yellow bat inside. You know, like how the bat. I would think like, this is the way the bat signal looks like in the sky, because you do have the yellow background template, and then the inside you have the black shadow, which I do like. All right, so this is the uncommon version. Whenever Batman damages a villain, deal or gain 1 life. Okay. So, I mean, I do like that they use the term villain, not like something else you would call it, because in Marvel they're called villains. Global, once per turn, pay a fist or bolt. The first time you play basic action die this turn, gain a life. Alright, so it's a lot of gain life. I don't put. I mean, his dice stats are pretty okay. 1, 2, 3 for 3, 5, 6 attack, and 4, 5, 6 attack. It's pretty solid. It's very average, though, in my opinion. Batman has to damage a villain in particular. So the only way Batman's going to be able to do that is by either attacking or blocking, and it's only going to be limited to 1 time. So I mean, it's a cool for in the set, but I don't think practically we'll be able to play that. Cheetah. That's the next one. I don't think I have any more cheetahs. Let me check. Just the one. Okay, so Cheetah, when Cheetah attacks, she deals 1 damage to the defending player. This, in the DC set, is pretty awesome. I mean, you have Cheetah dealing 1 attack for every time, 1 damage for every time she attacks. So, I mean, right there already is pretty good. It's a 3 cost bolt. It has a 0, 1, 1 fielding cost. So, I mean, out of all the cards so far, I really do like this. I mean, it's throughout the game. I mean, if it's early game, you're going to be whittling down your opponent. They're going to end up taking the 1 damage either way. If it's a later game and they put up these walls. You still have Cheetah. Even if they block with her, she's still doing the 1 damage. It's like a consistent Serena back, 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 and back. Let's go ahead and pull out these others. We're going to be having Cyborg. And they're the common and uncommon version of them. So right here. Let's see. So let's start with the common version. When Cyborg attacks, KO an opposing character with the same level as Cyborg. Very specific, but I mean, it's an okay dice in terms of stats, but I mean, limited to the DC, but not particularly, I mean, game changing in my opinion. And let's see, a 4-cost Cyborg. This one was a 5-cost, the uncommon. The uncommon is 4-cost, so it's a little bit more manageable. And I'm liking this already. So when Cyborg attacks alone, he gets +2 attack and +2 defense until end of turn. This, in my opinion, is pretty useful. I'm gonna go ahead and put all the ones that I'm not so happy with and the ones I am happy with up here. Because with Cheetah, you do have the consistent damage like a Serena, but with Cyborg, you have kind of a light version of Wolverine, where when he attacks alone, he'll gain more stats. I mean, of course, it's significantly less, but if we were to, play this in the constraints of DC Dice Masters, then yeah, I mean, it's pretty much the same, or it's pretty much kind of Wolverine-ish. So now next, we'll see the Constantine. This card that eluded me. Did not get super rare, but let's see what the common version does. While Constantine is active, once per turn, at the end of your opponent's roll and reroll step, you may make your opponent reroll an action dice. Okay, so what's gonna happen is that you're gonna have the Constantine, and then at the end of the reroll step, if your opponent is happy with what he got, then you can choose to make it reroll. So he might get something that he wouldn't want, I'm assuming. The dice is pretty good in terms of its defense. It's a 2/3/3 for a 2-cost. So value-wise, I really like it. Especially if a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll play a what is it called? A Red Dragon deck, and with the Red Dragon decks, I mean they will not Red Dragon specifically, but it's Red Dragon, Elf Wizard, and what's that card? Magic Missile / Powerbolt. And with those cards, what you do is you'll see people just buying up the action dice. So in retaliation, your opponent will see you do that, and that's when they start buying up the action dice. That is when I see this Constantine being pretty important, where you would be getting your rolls, fielding sidekicks, trying to keep drawing your action dice. And I mean, I've seen people play back and forth where they'll buy a bunch of action dice and they'll just keep rolling and rolling those action dice. And from that, you'll have the Constantine that will, kind of deny a little bit of damage, because you need every damage you get when you play this, or when you're playing that, kind of deck. So let's go ahead and fast forward to Selina Kyle. Oh no, yes, actually, Selina Kyle Catwoman. 2 of the same dice, or same card. Let's see. It's the uncommon version. When fielded, draw a dice from your bag and place it to your prep area. Okay, so I mean, a little ramp where you get to pretty much get a free dice next turn. I do like the effect, but it's expensive to pay 4 energy for a dice that only gives 2 attack on the level 1, 2 attack on level 2, 3 attack on level 3, and the fielding costs 0, 1, 2. I mean, if you were to pay that 2 energy just so that you can get 1 energy later on next turn, in my opinion, is not ideal, is what I would call it. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that to the side. I do like the art on the dice, but other than that, it's not gonna be for me. So let's go ahead, and next we have Cheetah. Cheetah powered by something. It's the uncommon version. When Cheetah attacks, KO an opposing sidekick. And again, in a lot of DC drafts, you're gonna see a lot of sidekicks fielded. So Cheetah, in that regard, is pretty good for clearing the field. I mean, it's you field it, already someone's dead. Hopefully, to help get that last push and damage, because there's not going to be any relentless or anything like that. For a lot of Marvel cards that would usually do the trick, this is going to be doing it for you. So let me go ahead and get the Cheetah dice right here. Put that to the side, and I'll put it up here. I mean, it's pretty useful if we're just we're sticking strictly to the DC set. But I do like the uncommon version better. Captain Cold. Now we have 4 of these guys, and one is uncommon, and the rest are common. Which actually says a lot about the distribution of Dyson cards. Common and uncommon. It really is common. The other one really is uncommon. So we'll start with the common version. 4 cost. When Captain Cold attacks, you may pay a bolt to prevent a target character from blocking this turn. Alright, so I mean, in the confines of DC drafts, paying a bolt to prevent a target character from blocking this turn. I do like that. That's pretty cool. I mean, it's your own little relentless when you attack. And since the effect takes place when you attack, that's before blockers are. It should be before blockers are assigned. So I do like that. It's a little mini relentless. And let's see. For uncommon, we have while Captain Cold is active, your opponent must pay 1 to declare an attack. Yeah. I mean, it does slow down a lot of gameplay, so I do like that too. I'm not sure if they're saying 1 energy or 1 life. I mean, pay 1. I'm assuming it's pay 1 energy to declare an attack. I'm not sure if that's per attack or in general. So there's a lot of wording that needs to be confirmed on this dice that I think. Let's go ahead and put that aside. I do like this. I actually do like this uncommon effect. Next we'll go with D, Dead Man.
All attacks happen simultaneously.
Oh, that's true. All attacks do happen simultaneously.
And Dungeons and Dragons for the breath weapon, pay 1 was for
No, but what they're saying is that while Captain Cold's active, your opponent must pay 1 to declare an attack, right? So all attacks.
Yeah, but remember you said you don't know if it's life or energy. It's energy.
Oh, that's his energy.
For the pay 1.
Oh, okay.
Because Dungeons and Dragons had that for breath weapon.
Oh, okay, okay. That sounds good. I mean, we can always look at the instructions because they'll say the same thing, but I'm pretty sure you're right. So next is Dead Man. No, that is not the dice. Dead Man, actually pretty cool. When fielded, capture an opposing character. This capture lasts until Dead Man leaves play. I like this card. I really do. It has good defense, 4, 5, 6, fielding cost of 1, 2, 2. And capture is a really, really nice ability that a lot of people were able to use in Dungeons and Dragons. But being able to use it here in DC, I can only assume that this capture lasts until Deadman leaves play. So it's not like, oh, I capture you and then that's it. He can actually keep the capture for an extended period of time, which I really do like. Let me see. We'll go ahead and go Deathstroke next. Where is that dice? I think it's here. Yes. So Deathstroke costs 5. And it's the common version. When Deathstroke is fielded, deal 1 damage to opposing player for each villain you control. So I mean, in limited to DC, I'm seeing this. Excuse me. I'm seeing this being used in a villain team, and it does seem like we do have a lot of cheap villains. Cheetah, etc. So it's kind of like a Gobby, but with villains. So I'm interested to see that. I'm gonna go ahead and put it up here as one of the cards that I would personally like to see and approve and move the side. You guys already know what's here. Firestorm. Where is he? He's here. Alright. When Firestorm attacks, deal 1 damage to target character or player. Love it. Absolutely love it. A 4-cost character automatically deals 1 damage. You have the option of giving it to a character or player. I assume most likely you're going to be giving it to a player. And it's a pretty solid dice. 1, 1, 2 for the levels. Really good defense. 5, 6, 6. I did not expect that to have such a good defense. And then it also has 3, 4, 5 for the attack, which is pretty solid. I mean, ideally you're going to be rolling like one of these two, or maybe even the one. I mean, do you really want to pay 1 more energy for 1 more attack? So ideally these two. But it looks like that's one of the cards to be looking for. Next is Harley Quinn. This is one of the rares that I got. Let's see, where is Harley Quinn? Here she is. Wow, has a really intricate dice. I don't know if you guys can see that. I'm gonna go put it super close. Not too close. Stay still a little bit. Maybe that's close. Alright. So you guys have an idea. Her hair is two-toned like I think she was like that in Arkham in the Arkham games, but let me go ahead and check this out. So when fielded, each player KOs a sidekick they control. Okay. And it does have a burst side, which is it's level 1. So while Harley Quinn is active, the first time one of your sidekicks is KO'd during your turn, target opponent loses 1 life. Okay. So it looks like you somehow have to have her fielded, have sidekicks on the field, and then somehow get rid of those sidekicks during your turn so that you can trigger this effect. Because this is a well active effect. So it's, this and the well active effect is only gonna work on level 1, so it's gonna be pretty hard to be able to field the level 1 and then keep it there and then have to try to KO the sidekick during your turn. So, again, it's a circumstantial dice, in my opinion. But I'm going to go ahead and put this down here. Not what I would like to see. I do like a lot of these better, but, this is just opinion. Let me go ahead and bring the next one out for you guys. It's going to be Hawkman. When blocked, Hawkman deals 1 damage to an opposing player. I do like this dice because it is cheap. It's a 3 cost energy, and then fielding cost is 0, 1, 1 with the attack of 2, 3, 3. So it is cheap, but the problem is that I don't think anyone would want to block Hawkman because there's no reason to. Has a really low attack, so there's really no reason to block him. So I'm on the fence. I'm gonna be putting him in the middle, guys, because I don't know. The effect, it's good on paper because it's a cheap character, but I don't think we can pull that off consistently. But we'll see. I feel like they would just let him through eventually. And when they do let him through, it's not going to be that much damage. So we'll go to Katana. Katana Outsider. Never heard of this character, but let me go ahead and give it a try. Katana gets 1 attack for each villain die on the field. Let's see. So it would help if she's a villain herself, but she is missing that, so she's not a villain. She just gets +1 attack for each villain die on the field. Let me go ahead and I love the fielding cost. 1, 1, 1. And the attacks are consistent, so it's 3, 3, 4. but I'm also on the fence on this card. They have a lot of weird stats that I really can't balance out in my head. So let's go ahead and take a look at Lex Luthor. Um, Common and uncommon. And oh, I didn't notice this, but I do have a message on the stream, and I'll just reply back to them real quick. Thanks for messaging us, Wondrous Woody. And that hey is just for you. Thanks for tuning in. All right, back to it. We are looking at dice from Dice Masters, and these are gonna be. That's not Lex Luthor. Where is the Lex Luthor dice? I don't think this is it. I lost. Oh, they're here, guys. I found them. All right, so Lex Luthor 4 cost, 011, really good fielding stats. I love these stats. Not that it's 011 in terms of fielding, but it's 4 cost, it's 011. The attack is low, but the defense, it's high. It's pretty high for a 4 cost, so I do like that. I don't know, so it's just gonna sit there, pretty much, in my opinion. Let's check it out. I haven't even read it yet. So for the common version, while Lex Luthor is active, your opponent must pay 2 to use basic action dice. I do like that it'll stop use for a lot of people who are abusing basic action dice. I don't think that people are abusing basic action dice enough to the point where you need to have this card on the field. But I do like the effect. It's pretty cool, but it's very niche. And let's see, for the next one, whenever you use a basic action dice, roll it. If it is an action phase, add it to your prep area. I do like this a lot because it allows you to. I'm pretty sure this allows you to use it again. So you roll basic action dice. Yeah, whenever you use a basic action dice, you can roll it, and then if it's an action phase, add it to your prep area. I do like this card if we were to be using it for maybe a lot of like bolts or like power bolts or something like that. So I really do like this card in that context. But other than that, so I'll go ahead and put this on the top, in which cards that I do approve. And this one, it's a little. I'm gonna put that in the ones I don't approve of. Let's move on to Green Lantern Power Ring. All right, so it's kind of similar to Batarang, KO a level 1 or 2. Oh, this says villain though, so it's specific to villains. And then the double burst is put a KO'd villain in the used pile instead to the prep area. So I mean, it's a lot of cost. I mean, they really could have make this double energy, but it's 1 energy, 2 energy, 2 energy on these sides of the dice. So I mean, I don't like the card, in my opinion. The dice is wonderful. Card, I can't stand it. Let's move along to Red Tornado. And it looks like I love these. No, the stats are okay. I mean, it's kind of similar to a what's that character? Like a Ghost Rider. It's a cheap dice. It has no text whatsoever, but it has a field cost of 1, 2, 3, and its attack goes from 3, 4, 5, and the defense is still pretty high, 5, 6, 6. So I do like the dice, the very very solid numbers in my opinion, especially for the level 2. It's still level 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 6 for a 3 cost dice is very good defense. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it here, but the 3 cost is a little steep. I mean, but I do like the dice. It's really good dice. Let me go ahead and go now to Swamp Thing. I believe I got another Swamp Thing. Here it is. Alright, so 2 Swamp Things, 1 uncommon and 1 rare. Let's see here. So this is the rare one. If this character damages an opponent, KO an opposing character. It's a 5 cost, so it's a little steep. I mean, since we're not going to be playing with Professor X Globals without ramp, So it's pretty expensive. The defense is really good. I've seen this defense on a lot of characters. A 7, defense is 567. Fielding is 112. So the defense is pretty good. But if this character damages an opponent, KO an opposing character, I feel like they would block with the character instead, and then there's no reason not to block the character. I mean, unless you relentless, and I guess you wanted to KO it, but it has such a low attack that even if you wanted to go through, it kind of doesn't make any sense. So, in my opinion, I'm not in favor of this card. I gotta put down here, and that's the rare version. For the uncommon version, characters who block Swamp Thing are KO'd at the end of this attack step. I mean, I'm pretty sure they're gonna get chump block. Whoever is blocking Swamp Thing is gonna chump block them anyway. And by chump block, I mean they have a smaller character block a bigger character. But I mean, it's nice to have as like a kind of like a battering ram, you would call it, where he would consistently attack, 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 attack. But I mean, with such low attack, I don't see a reason why your opponent wouldn't just let it through. We'll go ahead and continue this because I do have 2 Sinestro dice, and we're almost done with the entire stack that I just opened. So let's go ahead and bring these out. These Sinestro are different, so it's common, uncommon. I'll start with the uncommon, or the common. While Sinestro is active, all other villains cost 1 less to field. Really nice. I do like the effect. Once you get him out, he will sit there, and your villains who have 1 cost, off the top of my head, I can think of, let's see, off the top here, I know there's Cheetah, costs 1 on 1 or 0 on all sides, so you're gonna basically buy a bunch and field her. Let's see. I know Constantine. No, Constantine's not a villain. Deathstroke is pretty cheap. He has 1, 2, 2. So, I mean, in terms of just getting a dice, that's pretty good. Lex Luthor would be really good. I mean, imagine you have your Sinestro and then you're buying a bunch of, 4 cost Lex Luthor dice. I mean, without a relentless in this game, you can literally just sit there while you're using your basic actions and just consistently putting up a wall and re-rolling your basic actions once you use them. So it's pretty cool. I mean, you're rolling them and then you're putting them in prep to use again. I do like the uncommon version. And then the global, once per turn, pay a punch. Target villain gets 1 attack per turn. Pretty cool. It is limited to 1. So I mean, I still do like this card, so I'm gonna go ahead and put it up here. And let's take a look at the uncommon version. So, while Sinestro is active, your villains get +1 attack and +1 defense if there is no opposing villains active. So we see that a lot. You know, a lot of people have, you know, villains in their deck or don't have villains in their deck, and it's the same global effect. Once per turn, pay a punch. Target villain gets +1 attack. So it does limit you on trying to stack damage on your opponent, you know, with your punches. I honestly do like this one more. Or here, let me move it aside for you guys. I do like this Sinestro a lot better than the other one because you can have them fielded. And your villains cost 1 less, and I see that I feel like you can use that a lot more often than you would any other cards. So let's go ahead and go to Shazam. Right here. Shazam is oddly familiar to the Flash dice, don't you think? I mean, the colors, one's a little bit striped a little bit, but I mean they're very very similar. Go ahead and put that aside. So this is the Shazam we're dealing with. While Shazam is active, whenever you field a non-villain character, spin it up a level. Very expensive dice. Very expensive fielding costs. It is a solid dice though. I'm not gonna lie in terms of its numbers. It's a 5-5, 6-5, and 7-7. I don't know why they couldn't make it a 6-6. But let me go ahead and put this in between because I do like the dice stats. But I mean, other than that, it's just a beat stick card. And even though it has a well active effect, you don't want to. I don't think you'd want like a really solid dice to just sit on your field. You know what I mean? So let's go ahead and go straight to Stargirl. Stargirl, I have heard of this character before, but I'm not very familiar with it. So with Stargirl, while Stargirl's active, your sidekicks get +1 attack, +1 defense. This is another one of those sidekick buffers. So now we have, what is it? Captain America, Green Goblin, I think Angel when he attacks, Hawkman, or I forget his name. Falcon is what I should say. Falcon when sidekicks can't be blocked, and now Stargirl while she's active, sidekicks is +1, 1+1. So you're gonna have to find a way to field, like, I believe it's like 3 or 4 different characters, and then from there on out, try to figure out what you're gonna do in terms of trying to set up a really big sidekick swing. It's nice that it's a well active effect because I know Angel. A lot of people do have a problem with that because your sidekicks are vulnerable to a lot of damage when they can only get their +1/+1 during attacking. Let's go ahead and move on to the Flash. Barry Allen. It's the common version. If your opponent has less than 3 fielded characters, the Flash is unblockable while attacking alone. Pretty good effect for 4-cost dice. I mean, and it being limited to DC, I really do like this effect and this dice. I mean, 1/2/2. Thank God they didn't make it a 3. But 1/2/2, and then if your opponent has less than 3 fielded characters, he's unblockable. An unblockable in a bunch of drafts is always good. I mean, even though you see even in Dice Masters, what is it called? D&D draft, you'll see people drafting Invisible Stalkers. I mean, the stats aren't that great, but just to have an unblockable in your team during a draft is really good. And I really do like this Flash. I'm going to put it as approved in terms of the cards that I got. Let's look at a character who I have no clue about them in terms of comic book universe of Vibe. Alright, so Vibe, when Vibe is KO'd, deal 1 damage to all characters and players. He's kind of like a little mini Reckless Melee. I don't know if anyone even remembers that card. But yeah, he's kind of like a little Reckless Melee. When Vibe is KO'd, deal 1 damage to all characters and players. I do like that he costs really cheap. I love the fact that he's a 4-cost. He's 1, 2, 3 in terms of his levels, and his attack is 357. 357. It's kind of similar. Like, I mean, to have 7 attack for a 4-cost is pretty good. I mean, I honestly was looking at Shazam a while ago, and I was looking at his dice numbers, and I honestly wasn't that impressed. But seeing him for a 4-cost, I think Shazam costs 6 or something like that. I honestly do like this dice way more than Shazam. Here, Shazam's right here. So for Shazam's is 5, 6, 7, so it's a little bit more solid for a 1, 2, 3 field cost, and it's cost 6. But for Vibe, a 357, just a chance of that 7/7, and it costing 2 less is pretty awesome. And I mean his ability is pretty. It's a little wonky. I mean, he has to be KO'd. That's the first thing. So I'm pretty sure people are gonna block him and then KO, and then all that stuff is gonna happen. A lot of people might want to avoid blocking him or KOing him. They'll probably just like chump block. And he does have a pretty good defense, so I'm not sure how that would play out. I'm gonna put it as a yes because I do like it more than Shazam, but I still like Shazam's effect is pretty cool. And last but not least, for W, Wonder Woman. This I know there's a Wonder Woman out there that is like anti fielding text. I don't think this is the one. So if you have 2 or more Justice League characters in play, your sidekicks take no damage from attacking or blocking characters. Okay, so it's like a psychic buffer too. So you would put this with your what do you call it? Your Star Girls, all that stuff. Maybe a little bit. Try to roll your sidekick sides. I mean, the more psychics you have fielded, the less you can ramp in unlimited. But I do, if you're able to field a lot of sidekicks and buff them, I don't know if there's another +1 attack, +1 defense like Stargirl has, but it's pretty cool. I'm gonna go ahead and put these aside, and that's literally all the cards that I got today. That's pretty much everything, in my opinion, that I would have to tell you guys. So, I mean, by no stretch of the imagination, is this like an official, how would you call it, a tier list of cards, that are better than others. But I mean, this is just my opinion and first glance. With all the with the amount of Dice Master knowledge that I've acquired since playing, I mean, in my opinion, it's gonna be these cards that are gonna be most likely drafted or to look forward to in terms of playing with. I mean, but I welcome the opportunity to see a lot of people make a bunch of different dice, a bunch of different cards, and from there on out, we can see a lot of different decks, and hopefully, DC will open up a lot of technology that will kind of balance the scales of a lot of decks that are out there. The best thing about Dice Masters is that it's always random. I mean, it's a dice. You don't never know what's gonna land on. If it's gonna be a character face, you could roll the same dice 5 times and it'll come up energy and not a character face. And that's what's good about the game. Uh, so it looks like I'm pretty much done with everything I have. So I'll go ahead and leave a picture, not a picture, but I'll just throw my Age of Ultron Hulkbuster pop figurine there. Maybe a couple seconds for you to look at, and I'm gonna go ahead and call it a day. So from me here at Dice Masters 101, I'd like to thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you Thursday on the stream or in store if I can. Thanks, guys. Bye.